presented by First Commonwealth Bank. He is Jim Struzzi, who we introduce now as the president of the Chamber of Commerce of Indiana County, but not much longer,
Todd.
Good morning. Is this the last week?
This is the last week, yes.
Yeah.
Friday will be my last official day as Chamber President.
Yeah, well, we want to focus a little bit on that. First, we want to give folks a chance to celebrate with the Chamber. I know you've got events that are coming up and a whole schedule for 2019 that you're working on, too.
Well, we do. The next big event for the Chamber is going to be the Chamber Business Expo, the annual event that happens at the Indiana Mall, always the last Saturday in January. Next year, 2019, it'll be January 26th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're currently taking booth registrations from Chamber members. We'll be doing a lot of advertising, obviously. Anthony Frazier's putting together another great entertainment schedule for the day. Last year, if you were there, I know you guys were there, I think, a lot. There's just it was great last year. Thousands of people, great entertainment all day. I mean, we filled them all, and I'm hoping to do the same this year. Obviously, there'll be a new Chamber president in place. I'll still be there, but I'll be one of the participants this year and not the host. But that's the next big thing for the Chamber. And then, we're filling the schedule with Chamber Business After Hours, so we encourage member businesses and non-member businesses, if you want to get involved with the Chamber. Hosting an After Hours is a great way to get people into your doors, to showcase your business and some of the things that you offer.
By the way, I should remind folks that you can watch us on Facebook Live here this morning with Jim Struzzi. So with that as one of the events coming up, the really big events coming up, you reminded me of something, and that is the search for a new Chamber president. Do you have any updates on that? Any news at all?
There will be an announcement here, most likely sometime this week, perhaps early this week. Yes.
Oh.
The Chamber will be in good hands, and I will make sure that happens. I'm going to work with the new president to make sure that they understand, how the Chamber functions, the ins and outs of the jobs, the idiosyncrasies that come with it. But I think I know who it is, and it's going to be a good fit, I think. And I think Indiana County will be well served by the new president.
Terrific. That's good news. That's good news because there's a lot to do. This is
There is
a real key time, isn't it? You transitioned to the State House of Representatives, but from a Chamber standpoint, there are challenges, but there are great opportunities right now.
Well, there are. Looking back, though, I want to reflect very briefly on the Chamber annual luncheon a week or so ago, and thank everyone who came out for that. That was a tremendous event. But I mention that because obviously another big event that we have coming up in 2019 is the 5th annual Indiana County Business Hall of Fame dinner. So at the Chamber Luncheon, we announced the 2019 class. Again, it's going to be another great mix of business leaders, a farmer even in the mix this year. So the Hall of Fame for 2019 is going to be another spectacular event. And then we're going to continue, and I think this is really key to my new role as well on the economic development front. We announced urban last year, and everybody's excited about that, but that's just the beginning. So we have to continue to push that envelope forward, to continue to grow the jobs that we have here, to continue to align the workforce and educational components to meet the job needs that we have here. That's one of the key things that we started this past year at the Chamber that I want to make sure it continues both within the Chamber and in my new role as state representative. But I think we have tremendous opportunities in 2019 to really push Indiana County to a level that it hasn't been in many, many decades.
Yeah, I think one aspect of that we might not have considered fully is the fact that with urban coming on and people going to work for urban, some of those will be people, many of those will be people who currently hold jobs at other businesses. So there are going to be vacancies at those other businesses created by people moving to urban. And, once you get that shuffle going on, that can create tremendous upheaval. But again, you look more at opportunity as the key component there.
Well, I think you mentioned a big concern that we had initially, and I think that's a concern of a lot of businesses right now. We have current employers who can't find good quality employees, and there are plenty of good paying jobs out there right now for people who want to work, even with minimal skills. I mean, I think a lot of employers right now are willing to train quality people, but the thing is we have to find people who are willing to show up on time, can pass a drug test, and have a good, solid work ethic. I think I think in the picture perfect world, what would happen, Todd, is when urban comes in, we bring more people back to Indiana County. And I think that's going to happen. That's one of the things that I mentioned in my comments at the urban groundbreaking. I think you'll see a lot of people, coming back to Indiana County, families moving back to Indiana County, and that helps all of our local businesses. So you'll see more employees come back to the workforce. And I think a lot of the components of what people don't realize is that we've had population declines over the past few years, not just Indiana County, but Western Pennsylvania as a whole. When you're trying to draw employees, you need people. And so, the thought, the vision is that when Urban comes to Indiana County, opens up next year, they bring more families back. We add more people to our workforce. We add more students to our schools. We increase our tax base, and everything grows upon that.
Yeah, it really does. And you think about housing all of those people. There is
Yes.
existing housing that is vacant now, but there will be the opportunity for new startup construction too. And there are more jobs.
More construction, more homes being filled, more people shopping in our local stores. Hopefully, the mall, I think, is going to have some announcements coming up here to fill some of the empty stores that are in the mall. So I think there's going to be a lot of great things happening, and it all stems from bringing people back to Indiana County. And we have so much to offer here. We've been touting that for many years, myself through the Chamber, Denise at the Tourist Bureau, and all of us at the Center for Economic Operations, talking about the quality of life that we have in Indiana County. And that's really what makes a difference for a lot of people. In today's world, you can almost live anywhere and work anywhere virtually, and a lot of millennials are doing that. So I'm seeing a lot of young people even come back now who work in other cities but live here.
Yeah, absolutely. Jim Struzzi with us, president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce. So let's take a few moments now and reflect. You took over as the president of the chamber upon the retirement of Dana Henry.
That's right.
And so you've been here how long in that capacity?
It was 5 years this past April, so 5.5 years, give or take.
So reflect on that time with us today, and you can talk about some of the challenges met, some of the challenges that are still out there, and some of the great people that you've come to work with too.
It's almost with a sense of sadness that I leave the chamber this week, Todd. It has been a tremendous journey for me. The chamber really is structured around the board of directors and the good people that make up the board of directors. I'm very proud of what we've done with the chamber these past 5 years. We've grown the membership. We've I think changed the culture of the chamber to be more inclusive. We have a tremendous group of ambassadors, 5 core people who help out at all of our events and want to be part of the chamber. I think you saw a lot of people join the chamber. We created different sponsorship levels. We created so many new events. We created the Brains and Grains education sessions. We created our chamber check-ins, those open house sessions we have on Tuesday mornings once a month. We created the Hall of Fame, which has turned out to be just a phenomenal historical place to capture those individuals that may have in time been forgotten at the KCAC. That's a really good event for us. I think we've grown and continue to grow the annual luncheon. The after hours, we had 1 after hours per week when I joined. Now we have sometimes 2 and 3. We created the Paddle and Picnic in Blairsville, which is another sensational event. So there's a lot of different things that we've created as far as events to help the members. I think we've solidified the chamber financially. But as you said, the most important thing for me are the relationships. Over the years, we've built so many great relationships within the chamber. I've created so many great friendships, and that's all going to carry forward for me, as a state representative. But I'm extremely proud of what we did at the chamber, and I want to thank everyone who supported me over the years, for all the board of directors, to the chairman that I've had to work with, which would be Bob Kane from Reliant Holdings, Greg Cepas from First Commonwealth Bank, Joe Rischini from the Rischini Group. Worked with all 3 of those gentlemen, community leaders at the Foremost Civic, tremendous civic contributors to our community here. So I think it's just been an awesome experience for me and my family.
And with the new role as the state representative, you also know that you work with the Chamber of Commerce
Yes.
because you had the opportunity to work with our state lawmakers, and that's a pretty tight relationship, isn't it? You have to work
absolutely
with the Chamber, and so you've been at both, now you will have been at both sides of that.
I will, and I recognize that big picture, and that's part of the reasons that I wanted to run for state representative, is I understand the role that the representative plays within the chamber and the economic development team here in Indiana County, and I wanted to make sure that that person who was a state representative understood what we were trying to do with the county and could continue to work within that team structure to move Indiana County forward. And of course, I'm going to have to join the chamber now myself. Jill, my assistant, told me I'm not walking out of the door on Friday until she has a check in her hand for membership. So, but that's great.
Yeah,
it's all great.
Absolutely is. So in the last 5 years as president of the Chamber of Commerce, you have dealt a lot with bringing and attracting business into Indiana
Yes.
County. Those challenges still remain always. That you'll certainly want to take advantage of all of those. New chamber president, though, is going to have that focus on workforce development.
It has to be, and we put a good structure in place. This past year, we did our 2 business education summits, and what came out of that was the creation of a workforce education committee within the chamber. We broke that into 3 subcommittees to address the focus areas, the 3 main focus areas that we developed through the business education summit, which are to create a county-wide internship program, a countywide job shadowing database, and then a career fair. All those 3 different projects are going to be in place. We have leaders for them. So that work will continue. I know there's a lot of planning already underway. I plan to continue that as a state representative, stay involved in that. That's one of the key things we need. But I think you mentioned the challenges that we face, and I dealt with that, from the beginning as chamber president. And then again, it gets back to demographics. I tried very hard to attract a lot of the major retail chains here, a lot of major retail restaurants, some of the vacant places that we had, and they were interested until they looked at our census numbers. Mm-hmm. That's one of the challenges. Again, it gets back to people. That's why I'm very hopeful with urban coming in. We'll see more people come back to the community. That makes Indiana County more palatable to some of those more nationwide retailers that people want to see here. We've seen that through all the surveys that we did through the chamber, what people want to have here, because we don't want people to have to go elsewhere to shop or to have fun or do anything like that. We want them to stay right here in Indiana County.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you think, if you would say to you 5 years ago, what will be the things that you have to deal with in your tenure at the Chamber of Commerce, probably you need that ability to prognosticate a little bit. And this new president is going to have to be able to address issues that are on the table now and look forward to what issues are coming up.
They do. And,
part of the job.
Well, the good thing is the chamber's in a strong place right now. Jill Mountain, my administrative assistant, who's been there almost 4 years, she's tremendous. We have a core group of ambassadors, as I mentioned, that really come in on their own time and help out with the chamber. We have a couple of really good interns, some IUP right now. So all the processes are in place. The office is going to run really well. And I'll be there to help, to mentor, to give any advice that I can give. And, they'll be taking over with Jim Kinnear as the chairman of the board of directors. Jim's a great guy from the hospital. So getting to the workforce components, though, Jim's the HR director. He knows the ins and outs of workforce and workforce development. So I think, looking at 2019, if we can address those workforce issues, help keep some Indiana County high school graduates here locally employed and on good career paths, I think that'll be a great success for the new president.
Jim, it's been a pleasure having you here as chamber president. We'll keep the relationship going as a state representative.
Sounds good. I'll see you on Thursday mornings instead.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Merry Christmas.